All right, Cozumel Palace, one of the most famous hotels in all of Cozumel. I could see why. My first 24 hours here were phenomenal. Possibly the best first impression I've ever had, and things are pretty consistently awesome the entire way through. This hotel isn't perfect, but at this price, it doesn't need to be. All I can say is after this stay, I'm going to all the palaces. Moon Palace, Beach Palace, Sun Palace, they're all happening. This is Cozumel Palace, Cozumel. Before my taxi could even come to a complete stop, my door just gracefully opened for me and two gentlemen welcomed me to the property. And as I stepped through the door for the first time, I got that indescribable, rare, yet overwhelming feeling that I chose the right property. The check-in area was literally left off the entrance, just a step in the door, and it eliminated kind of that subconscious stress that you kind of have right when you get to a property, trying to figure out where you're supposed to be. As I handed my passport and payment information over to the person behind the counter, somebody approached on my left and gave me a cold towel. Another approached on my right and gave me a welcome drink. And before I could fully appreciate and enjoy both, my passport and payment information was passed back, and I was told that my room was ready 3 hours early. This hotel is pure class. It features that timeless and classical Caribbean design, very reminiscent of Hyatt Zilara Cancun and Hilton Playa del Carmen. The room was spacious, especially for a more experienced property, and it also had very supreme materials and some sophisticated amenities. The bathroom only had a single vanity, which was a little disappointing, but it was clearly optimized for space. The sink was all the way at the end of the bathroom. The toilet was tucked neatly behind the door, and the bathroom products were so incredible, I actually took them home with me, which is something I have not done in over a year. If the Westin beds were heavenly, and the Secrets beds were euphoric, then these were simply the pinnacle. Absolutely the best beds I experienced throughout my entire Cozumel trip. The minibar set the bar for what everyone should be. It was almost intentionally overstuffed with some super chic product choices. The sunken living room featured a indoor jacuzzi, which is a bit of a polarizing topic, but this one was both neatly placed out of the way, but also in an area that gave command over the entire room. And the balcony. It is your private portion of the Caribbean, a gateway to bliss. It's like stepping into living artwork. The extended double wall setup invoked feelings of extreme privacy, and it made it seem like the glimpses of the Caribbean were designed specifically just for you. All right, I just finished dinner at the Asian restaurant. I don't do a lot of Asian dining at these all-inclusives. There's a reason for that, and I'll touch on that probably later in the video, if not tomorrow. I want to keep this momentum going. I'm right outside the lobby bar, and there are a ton of people here. It's really busy, and they have some great mixology drinks on the menu. I want to try a couple of those, and hopefully I can get out to the entertainment show, which apparently starts at 8. Okay, I'm back in the room after dinner and the magic show. I did not get a chance to spend any time at the lobby bar. I mean, I was there, I tried to, but it didn't work out. This hotel may have a big flaw. I did walk into the room smiling, and there are a couple reasons for that. First of all is the magic show. The show was excellent. It was extraordinary. Of all of the shows I've seen at these hotels, some of the most unforgettable moments, the best shows, the most lucid memories have come at the least expected places. A hotel's price, its luxury, its size does not correlate to a quality show. That is for sure. I'll leave it at that for now. I really need to get out of here because I also walked into turn down service. I love a proper turn down service. The room is crisp, the towels are refreshed, the beds are made, chocolates are laid out. That jacuzzi tub is looking so clean, so inviting. It's looking like a gem right now, and plus it's just steps away from these comfortable beds. If I don't get out of here right now, it is going to be lights out. And it was lights out, but not in a good way. That's typically a compliment these days, but in this case it was not. The lobby bar closes at 11, but just an hour later, after it was buzzing at 8:30, it was pretty much desolate. I had it to myself, which socially might be disappointing, but I actually embraced it. I thought it would be an opportune time to really dive in and try some of these signature cocktails. Not only did Cozumel Palace have a cocktail list, they had two separate pages of signature cocktails, one for classical and then one that they curate themselves. On the classical side, I went with the Corpse Reviver. I ordered it based off name alone. I guess it's a variation of a martini. It's more of a gin sipper drink that's probably better pre-dinner than post-dinner, but I couldn't help myself. And then after that, I had to try one of their own creations. I was back and forth between the Love and Peace and the Tiki Totem. I thought the Tiki Totem was a bit more apropos for the Caribbean, so that's what I went with. The drink I wanted most, though, was not available, and that was the Smoked Mojito. Allegedly, and interestingly, they could not locate the smoking device. I had somewhat of a similar experience at the Asian restaurant. Some of the items, especially the drinks, were not available. I usually stay away from the Asian restaurants at all-inclusives these days. Usually they are average at best, and typically they're really lackluster, but that was not the case here. Even though there was a menu item or two that was not available, it was still impressively large. And considering it's an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, the food quality was shockingly good. My trip was off to a phenomenal start. I woke up in the morning extremely ambitious and aspirational. I went down to the coffee shop to start my day. This was not my first time here, nor my last. I essentially lived here throughout my entire stay. This was a legitimate coffee shop with the proper equipment, beans, menu, silverware, drinkware. They had a variety of sensational and sinful sweets and treats. They rotated them throughout the day. There was always something new there. After the coffee shop, I went to the gym, and as soon as I got there, I turned right around. It was a gym in name only. Basically, it was a claustrophobic room with a few pieces of workout equipment. So after a quick workout in the room, I went down to the breakfast buffet. It was primetime breakfast, so I expected it to be busy, but not pandemonium. You would think that people were waiting in line for the Mona Lisa or to witness Halley's Comet. I did not have the patience or mental fortitude to wait in that line, so I went back upstairs and ordered room service, and this turned out to be a major stroke of luck. The room service breakfast was so enjoyable, I ordered it as much as I could from this point forward. I still can't decide what I liked best. The omelet was amazingly fresh. The steak and eggs had a thick, dense, juicy cut of meat. The divorced eggs did not stay divorced for too long, and the mollete was just simply delicious. So as my food enthusiasm continued to increase, my outlook for the trip started to get bleak. Now the forecast at a tropical place can never be fully trusted, and if you go to an island, there's always gonna be a slight and steady breeze. If you've been to Jamaica or Aruba, you know what I'm talking about. And Cozumel is no different, but during my stay, the winds were violent. 20 to 25 miles per hour at steady, gust above 40. It was so bad that officials were not letting people in the ocean. Even going outside really wasn't possible, and it's at this point that I realized that when the weather is bad, there's not much to do at Cozumel Palace but eat and drink. I embraced it, so I ordered dinner. I wanted to try some simpler items like the burger and the quesadilla. Both were really nice, but extremely overshadowed by the chicken parm. This dish right here was the best thing I ate throughout my entire stay at Cozumel Palace. After quickly Googling what constitutes an eating disorder, I went downstairs to balance out my day and night. It was pretty much all food up until this point, so of course I had to indulge in some drinks. This night was certainly different than my experience the night prior. The staff was more energetic, and they did give me the same excuse about not being able to find the smoker, but eventually they were able to locate it. The drink is on the menu, but after experiencing their expressions as well as their enthusiasm, I'm not sure this drink gets made too often. They had just as much fun preparing it as I did have watching and enjoying it. After I saw how much fun they were having, I wanted to spice things up a little bit. The classical signature cocktails were good, but they were kind of distinguished. They weren't very tropical. So I went to an old secret play out of the playbook, and I went to the mocktails, but had them add the alcohol back in. And ordering these drinks was a bit of a mistake because every single person that walked by had to know what these drinks were, and they were flabbergasted to find out they were mocktails with alcohol. All right, good morning. Barely. Probably not even anymore. It's probably like 12:30. I've been sitting in that hammock gloriously for the past 2 hours waiting for the wind to subside, which it finally has. It is absolutely insanely, miraculously beautiful out there right now. It's the best day I've seen in Cozumel since I've been here for 3 weeks. The water is glowing. It's like radioactive blue. We're gonna get down there and have a great pool day. Good morning. The last thing I need to do is eat another meal, but I think I'd be remiss if I did not check out this breakfast buffet against my better judgment because it was a zoo yesterday. It looks a little small, but you never know. For those looking for a casual buffet experience, you need to get to this one before daylight. I can see why it was so popular. It's right up there with the Westin as the best I experienced during my entire Cozumel trip. The buffet looks small, but that's an optical illusion. I think it's because of the smaller room size, but it has everything. It was carb paradise with a mind-boggling assortment of breads, cereals, sensationally creative pastries that were ultra fresh, as well as thick and dense waffles and pancakes. The fruits were showing off their freshness as they glistened underneath the lights. There was a dedicated Mexican area with authentic dishes. There were specialty dishes, an omelet station, sauces, syrups, snacks. I'm definitely glad I woke up early to check this out. And this is actually where I had dinner last night. In the evenings, it turns into the Italian restaurant, which is regarded as the best restaurant on property. I'm not necessarily sure that's true. It certainly is the most refined dining experience. The portion sizes were decent, the food was rich, probably even decadent, and overall it was an upscale yet comfortable dining experience. So just how good is Cozumel Palace? Well, it's really good, but where it misses, it strikes out. Firstly, the beach. There isn't one. A lot of people think that this area is automatically going to have amazing beaches. Cozumel is more of a diving adventure destination, so you're going to see more cliffs and rocks than you are beaches. Now, Cozumel Palace tries to simulate a beach experience, and you can jump in the water and swim in it as much as you want. But in terms of an actual beach, there isn't one. And unfortunately, Cozumel Palace is understaffed. I noticed this throughout my stay. At my dinner at the Asian restaurant, my dessert, which is usually pre-made, took 30 minutes to arrive. I eventually just walked out. After dinner and before the magic show, getting a drink at the lobby bar was impossible. And while I was at the pool, I walked over to the pizza station just thinking I could grab one. And it took them 30 minutes to deliver the same slice I could have grabbed in 5 seconds. And finally, the rooms are terribly noisy. This is an older hotel that used really high-end materials but did not place any emphasis on sound dampening or noise isolation. I heard every single door knock, every single housekeeping call, every single room service delivery, and every single open door and close of the entire hallway throughout the trip. But despite those negatives, there's still a lot to love about Cozumel Palace. Firstly, its location is my favorite in Cozumel. If you're going to be in Cozumel for a little while, you want to stay as close to the city as possible, and this hotel is in the heart of the city. So if you want to jump on the ferry and go across to Playa del Carmen, if you want to check out some of the bars, if you need a haircut, or if you just want to be close to the action, this is the spot to be at. Also, this hotel is quality. I was originally going to say food quality, but then I thought to myself, well, the drinks are really good. The entertainment show was phenomenal. It's a nice, high-quality standard at every little aspect of the hotel. So no matter where you go, what you experience, you can expect a high standard of quality. And lastly, I'm going to focus on the pool. It definitely makes up for the lack of beach. If there's a better pool in Cozumel, I want to know about it. I'm not proclaiming this one to be the best. I'm just asking, is there a better one? I stayed at the 6 most popular resorts in Cozumel. Spoiler, this is by far the best pool. This pool is big, it's beautiful, and its bold style can keep up with anything across the water in Playa del Carmen or up in Cancun. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Cozumel Palace a 4. This is a special hotel. It's extremely special. It may have some big flaws, but like us humans, you can still be flawed and still be special. It's adult forward, but still family friendly. It's classy, but comfortable. It may not be my best overall Cozumel experience, but it just might be my most memorable.